Aaron Katursky, who's in Lviv, Ukraine. And Aaron, as we just mentioned, we're seeing President Zelensky's announcement that Western countries have agreed to disconnect Russia from the SWIFT banking system. Talk us through how significant that would be for Russia and any potential backdraft for the West.
Well, we've just heard the announcement from President Zelensky in another defiant post on social media, Diane. And he says that not only is Ukraine going to keep up its robust defense of its own country in the face of a Russian onslaught, he says that Western nations have agreed to disconnect Russia from this method of international finance. We'll wait to hear for sure from the Western nations, but this would effectively block access to this method of transactions meant to move big amounts of money from one international destination to another for things like oil and gas sales, something really, really big. Now, the President of the United States has already said that the sanctions the U.S. and its European partners have implemented are beyond this, that sure, SWIFT is important, but cutting the Russians off from Western finance generally and going after the oligarchs individually could have a much more significant impact. But this is something the Ukrainians have been clamoring for, and they may have finally gotten it.
And Aaron, it's nighttime there, so what are you looking out for tonight, and what are you seeing and hearing now?
These have been long and restless nights over the last couple of days as the Russians have advanced into the capital from a number of different entry points, and there's been heavy fighting, at least on the outskirts of the city and occasionally closer into the center. There have also been missiles fired at civilian locations, according to the Ukrainians, and we've seen that horrific video of a missile going into a high-rise residential building. Other civilians have been injured or killed in this fighting so far, even though the Russians say they are not targeting civilians. Things happen, and this is war, and that reality has borne down on Kyiv and other key locations across the country. There's been heavy fighting in Kharkiv to the east, Odessa to the south, where the Russian resistance has not been as robust as it has been in the capital. That's really where the Russian defenses have been concentrated. They are trying to hold out as long as possible. And if they can do it, they have the promise of European and American aid. The United States approved $350 billion worth of aid for the Ukrainian military. That includes Stinger missiles to shoot down Russian aircraft, perhaps even out the advantage. We know that Russian air power is superior.
So how quickly are Russian forces moving toward the capital at this point, and how are Ukrainian defense efforts going?
Well, the Russians have been advancing, and they're at Kyiv's doorstep, but they've been encountering a fairly formidable resistance, and perhaps even a little stronger than they had anticipated, according to the U.S. and the British, who've both said that the Ukrainian military has really afforded itself well against the much bigger, much more robust Russian military. We're not sure whether that's entirely the case, whether this is meant to buck up the Ukrainian forces who are clearly outmatched and outnumbered. But they've been doing it so far, and the capital has held, and Ukrainian President Zelensky says it will continue to hold. There's also been a civilian mobilization, people given weapons that may not have used them before. Politicians have them, individual citizens have them, and if they don't, they've been told to just make Molotov cocktails, put up checkpoints in their neighborhoods in defense of any Russian advance.
All right, Aaron Katursky in Lviv, Ukraine. We appreciate it, Aaron. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
All right, everyone, hello and welcome back to the channel. All right, guys, if you notice, I added another thing of what's going on in Ukraine. And guys, really, it is truly important what's going on out there. I give them much respect. Think about it, guys. You have ordinary people fighting the military. ordinary people, people that work in warehouses, stores, and regular people, regular Joes. And they are fighting military men who are trained, nothing but trained to kill. So you got to give much respect to those people in Ukraine. And I myself, I think about it and say, damn, that could be us. That could be some other country trying to invade the USA. And I'm going out just like that. I mean, I'm fighting for mine. I'm not going to just stand here, be taken over by another country and kiss their ass. I'm going to fight to the death, you know? So much respect to those people out in Ukraine that are fighting the Russians. Whether they feel that they have a chance or not, but they are holding them there right now. The Russians at the capital where there's a big standstill. And now if I just saw it on the news right now, the Russians are going to talk with the Ukraine. So there might be some kind of deal going on to chill this. Listen, Russia, if you guys didn't know, Russia's always felt Ukraine was theirs, that it belonged to Russia a long time ago. Okay, but for whatever reasons, Ukraine became their own place, their own country or whatever. But Russia always felt it was theirs. And Russia is not a country to play with, guys. They're not playing with a full deck. And let me also state, guys, as you heard Putnam say, anybody who was to go defend Ukraine, they would suffer consequences that history has never seen. That is dramatic, guys. That is dramatic. And whether you realize it or not, the United States has already involved themselves. They have put sanctions on Russia, okay, for what they did. And those sanctions are dealing with their money, cutting off their money, their opportunity to make money with other countries and so on. So think about that. The United States has already involved themselves in it. And I think they're also giving them, if I'm not mistaken, they're also giving Ukraine financial ability to buy equipment and stuff like that to fight the Russians. So bottom line, the United States has involved themselves. So let me just say, we're gonna expect to get some kind of hit from Russia, and maybe in ways that we may not all realize or notice, or media may expose it. But why I'm saying this, guys, okay? Let's just take what before we kick this video off, I want to give you this advice. There's been mega talk that the Russians are well known to be for cyber attacking. Okay, this was years ago, and let's just say the Russians are well known for cyber attacking, and that's exactly what they did with Ukraine. When they started their attack, listen, the internet is a big deal. The internet is ways to communicate through your country, through your people, outside the world, all around the world. So they went at Ukraine through their cyber, through their internet or whatsoever. So Ukraine right now is kind of assed out. They really don't have any kind of communication with other countries. I don't know how they're communicating with the United States, but again, I say Russia is well known for cyber attacks. Okay, now there's been talk that Russia is gonna, the same way we're screwing with their money, the Russians are going to screw with the United States money by knocking out the banks. Okay, that's been talk, guys. It's been talk that's going on. Now, why I'm telling you this? If you have money, I had a few grand stashed in the bank for a while. I just took it out a couple of days ago when this shit started. Okay, I'm keeping my money in the house now until things get back to normal, if they ever get back to normal. If I feel like trustworthy that the Russians are not going to screw with us, I'll put it back in. But think about that. The possibilities are there, guys. The Russians are going to try to knock off the computer systems of all our banks. That's to hurt us financially, okay? And because they're being screwed with, their money is being played with right now. So all I'm saying, guys, if you have money in the bank, I know your money's insured and all that through the banks or whatever, but think about it. If they were to do that, if they were to knock out the banking systems, their computers and all that shit for a while, you would not have access to no money, guys. You would not have access. Think about your bills. You got to pay bills, your fuel to go back and forth to work, and your everyday deals. So all I'm saying, them going after, like, knocking out the banks or whatever, our banks, their computers and stuff like that, would affect and hurt many people that depend on having access to their money on a daily basis. So I'm just saying, some of you are going to say, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and maybe I don't explain things properly, but I'm pretty sure you got an idea of what I'm saying, guys. All right, the United States is screwing with their money, and I agree. You know, this is a way of saying, until you stop screwing with Ukraine, you're cut off from playing. You know, there's a lot of other bullshit through I forget what they call it, WHO, like all the countries that are together in partnership, making money together. So let's just say, like I said, the United States is playing with their money, and now they're going to come back and screw with us, and the possibilities are there, and I'm taking no chances. And so I'm just saying, guys, it would be smart of you to take your money out of the bank, keep it safely somewhere in your house until this shit is over and you feel confident. If not, if you feel that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, so be it. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am wrong. But God, it'd be a kick in the ass that down the road something happens where they attack the banks out here, the computers, and some of you may feel that, oh, it's impossible. We're a super nation. Listen, we have our weaknesses, okay? And Russia is up there, guys. Russia ain't no small little country to screw with and think they're not to worry about. We gotta worry about these people, guys. Okay, so that's all I gotta say. Whether you take what I say for, if it goes to the one ear and out the other, so be it. That's my opinion, my advice to my friends who follow me on YouTube. All right, guys, so here's another video from the Long Island Fraudit, Mark. Okay, he's a good guy, guys. Like I said, I have no problems with him yet. If down the road I feel that he is lying to us, then it's a whole different ball game. But for now, I honestly feel this man is being upfront with us. He is trying to help us get rid of the Long Island Fraudit, and we're gonna need him down the road. The guy is very smart when it comes to the law. Okay, I mean, we all have our strong points with law. I'm no good at it. I mean, I like doing things my way, and sometimes my way is illegal, let's say. But regardless of the fact, Mark is a good guy. Check out his channel if you feel up to it. If you like the content, be one of the first to see what he throws out there, and subscribe to his channel, guys. Okay, he's a good guy. Let's check out what he's got to say about the Long Island audit. He's a frauditor's damn self. And let me know what you think about the video, guys.
On February 10th, 2022, Sean Paul Reyes, a.k.a. Long Island Audit, left the Waterbury, Connecticut Superior Court after a hearing on Reyes' motion to dismiss in one of Reyes' criminal cases. Reyes was previously arrested for trespassing at the Waterbury post office. Reyes filed a motion to dismiss in the case on the grounds that the court lacked subject matter jurisdiction. Reyes exclaimed outside of the courthouse after the hearing that the judge praised Reyes and stated to Reyes that Reyes should become a lawyer and go to law school. Reyes claims that anyone can retrieve the transcripts from the hearing if they don't believe that the judge praised Reyes.
I'm representing myself pro se in this case. I just got out of court. It's right behind me. I filed a motion to dismiss based on subject matter jurisdiction. The state's attorney here, his name is David Gulick. So we argued our motions back and forth. Him and I have gone back and forth in court. We've been going back and forth. And the judge finally said, I know how I'm going to rule on this motion. He said, Mr. Reyes, I'm going to give you a February 10th date, 2022. In case the state can change my mind, you have to report. The judge actually told me, Mr. Reyes, you did a great job. The judge in my case, presiding over my case, said I did an excellent job drafting my motions, an excellent job arguing my motions. I did this one pro se by myself. The judge told me in open court, if you don't believe me, get the transcripts. He said it on record. He said, Mr. Reyes, you did an excellent job drafting your motions. You did an excellent job arguing them. Now that brings us till today. The judge said he's going to write his decision the first week of March, which I believe, based on his open on-the-record comments, will be to dismiss my case. And that's why the judge congratulated me on my arguments in court, on my motions that I filed. He said, if you ever stop doing YouTube, you should go to law school. You should become a lawyer. That's what he said. He congratulated me on my hard work in the motions and as well as my arguments. I got a lot of people a lot of trolls out there. You know, you guys know who you are, making YouTube videos about me. And
However, of course, Reyes is lying. Firstly, if there were transcripts of anyone praising Reyes for anything, Reyes would be the first one to not only obtain those transcripts, but to institute an entire YouTube campaign desperately aimed at making sure that everyone knew about said transcripts. Secondly, and most importantly, on April 24th, 2020, an entire year before Long Island Audit was arrested at the Waterbury Post Office, a now reformed and rehabilitated former frauditor was arrested at a Virginia post office for trespassing after filming and refusing to leave.
Post inspector first. At this time, you're under arrest for trespassing. Go ahead and put your hands behind your back.
The former frauditor and I were friends, and still are, so within days of the former frauditor's arrest, I posted a video to my YouTube channel of the arrest and provided a link to a motion to dismiss that I drafted and prepared for the former frauditor. I was the very first person to share with frauditors the legal template for arguing Poster 7 in court. Up until that point, frauditors had to rely on lawyers to defend them, or if they represented themselves, on repeating to the judge the generic YouTube frauditor script and the judge hashing out of that and the law what he or she could on his or her own. I removed the video shortly after posting it because the former frauditor was doxxed from the video. The former frauditor's charges were ultimately dismissed months later. Before I further proceed with this video, I must emphasize that I do apologize to all of you and to myself for frauditing and contributing to frauditing. I am a reformed and rehabilitated former frauditor now, and I am never looking back. In an attempt to reverse the damage I've done to the public, I will be submitting legal memos against Reyes if Reyes files a lawsuit in the Waterbury matter. An entire year later, between May 19th, 2021, when Reyes was arrested at the Waterbury Post Office for trespassing, and July 21st, 2021, when Reyes filed his motion to dismiss in the case, Reyes emailed me asking me to provide him with the link to my video of the former frauditor's Virginia post office arrest. Reyes explained to me that he needed the legal document that I linked to in the video's description to win his Waterbury case. Because I had already taken the video down, I emailed Reyes the requested document, the former frauditor's motion to dismiss that I drafted. Reyes thanked me and explained that he had just been arrested at a post office and needed the legal argument. I explained to Reyes that the most important paragraph in the document was the one containing the language subject matter jurisdiction. I explained to Reyes that he didn't need to comprehend my legal document, just that he needed to emphasize to the court that it doesn't have subject matter jurisdiction in his case and to let the judge do the rest on his or her own. I usually have the emails between myself and Reyes to show you, but I didn't think at the time that this particular conversation would come in value later. However, I do have recent texts from Reyes admitting that my legal document was the reason why the judge granted Reyes' Waterbury motion. Here's part of the conversation I had with Reyes right after his Berwyn, Illinois court appearance, where he asked the judge to find probable cause in his case, beginning with my text. "You looked ridiculous in court."
It was a first appearance in a state I know nothing about. Wait until you see my motion to dismiss. It shreds your memo to pieces.
Is it the memo from the guy with JD after his name? LOL. Is that your motion?
No, Mark, of course not.
Okay, good. You're better off just copying my work, like you did once before.
LOL. I find it so interesting that they have no clue that they have no jurisdiction at the post office. The judge granted my motion. Well, now I have a motion to dismiss. If New Year's wasn't around the corner, I'd go to a post office and let them arrest me and go hands-on and then get it dismissed in court. LOL. I will definitely do my best. I might even hold down an arrest at a post office. I will probably just go live, so when they take my phone, I have the video. The cops will think they won. It amazes me that no police department realizes that on a federal enclave they have no jurisdiction. Even if they have a memorandum of understanding with the post office, that only means they can enforce federal law. I already have the motion ready. Easy lawsuit. I don't know why everyone doesn't do this. LOL. If I was single, I would seriously go to every post office and actually bait them to arrest me. LOL. If I wanted lawsuits, I would just take an arrest and taser at every post office. LOL. My wife would kill me if I got arrested every week. And plus she's pregnant right now, so I have to be extra careful. Can't miss the baby being born.
So even if the judge did praise Reyes's motion to dismiss and Reyes's legal arguments, the judge didn't praise Reyes's motion and arguments, but my 12-page legal argument submitted on behalf of my former frauditor friend that I thereafter forwarded to Reyes. However, the judge didn't even do that much. Reyes is lying. The judge didn't praise Reyes's motion or arguments, and here's why. Firstly, Reyes unimpressively didn't cite one state or federal statute, one state or federal regulation, or any state or federal case law in support of his motion. Reyes's only legal argument was his basic, unimpressive, one-sentence paragraph about subject matter jurisdiction that I instructed Reyes to include at a minimum. The rest of Reyes's half-page motion to dismiss included 2 or 3 paragraphs of facts but no other legal arguments, all according to my instructions. I strongly instructed Reyes, do not try to impress the judge by citing case law or other advanced legal arguments contained in my legal document. I instructed Reyes, do not orally argue your motion further at your hearing. Submit your argument on the filings, because if you try to expound upon any of the legal principles contained in my legal document, you will surely and miserably embarrass yourself and your argument. Reyes affirmed that he would strictly comply with my instructions, and he did, which is exactly why there was no reason at all for the judge to be impressed with or praise Reyes's motion or arguments. By design, I purposefully kept Reyes's motion as unimpressive and praiseless as possible so that there wouldn't be any room for Reyes to accidentally confuse or confound himself or the judge. Secondly, Reyes couldn't even enunciate or pronounce the language in my cover letter to my legal memos to Stephen Sadensky, even as he read straight from the tangible document itself.
We must exit those facilities unless, while that might create an appearance that we aren't especially cognizant or solicitous or of others' concerns, and we are prepared to file at all times material briefs of amici curiae.
So if Reyes can't even impressively read straight from a basic piece of paper, why would Reyes be able, at a hearing, to impressively and orally expound upon advanced legal doctrines that aren't even tangibly in front of him? Think about that. Furthermore, Reyes doesn't even know what probable cause is.
I'm asking the court to find probable cause on this complaint.
All right, so let me stop you here. You don't want the court. First of all, this is a misdemeanor, so that's not appropriate avenue on a misdemeanor. That's appropriate avenue on a felony. Okay, number one. Number two, you would not want the court to find any probable cause, because that means that they're saying that there's evidence or possible evidence that you committed a crime. So you never want the court to find probable cause against you. But if you had an attorney, he would explain that to you, and you would know that you were just asking for something that was not in your best interest.
Does anyone really think that Reyes, on his own, knows, comprehends, or can expound upon the subtle legal nuances of subject matter jurisdiction when Reyes just asked the judge to find probable cause against him? Thirdly, the very first paragraph in Reyes's motion to dismiss isn't even a complete sentence. Let's read it. The undersigned, Sean Paul Reyes, proceeding pro se, requests that the information charging him with criminal trespass in the first degree in violation of Connecticut General Statute 53A-107. The undersigned, Sean Paul Reyes, proceeding pro se, requests that the information charging him with criminal trespass in the first degree in violation of Connecticut General Statute 53A-107. There is no way that any judge walked away from that first paragraph impressed with Reyes's motion. Fourthly, the very first paragraph in any motion should always be the motion request. However, Reyes's motion to dismiss never once asked the judge to dismiss Reyes's charge. Reyes essentially just stated some stuff to the judge on paper. Fortunately for Reyes, pro se filings are liberally construed by judges and prosecutors, something that I know for a fact saved Reyes's motion to dismiss. That means that the judge and prosecutor in Reyes's case entertained Reyes essentially as a kindergartner. Fifthly, I know Reyes better than Reyes knows himself, and one thing I know about Reyes is that whenever Reyes is talking, Reyes is lying. So if Reyes is desperately trying to convince you to believe something, it's because the opposite is true. Lastly, and most importantly, Reyes still got the subject matter jurisdiction argument wrong. I told Reyes not to try to sound smart. See, the local police absolutely do have law enforcement jurisdiction on federal post office property, but it's just that the local courts don't have subject matter jurisdiction over the prosecution of violations of Poster 7. The link to Reyes's motion to dismiss is in the description. So why would Reyes lie about something so verifiable and so confidently? Here's why. Reyes personally knows from some of my previous cases that judges have said favorable things about my filings in the past. Reyes knew that if I ever questioned the praise that Reyes claims his legal arguments received from the judge, that I'd be questioning the validation of my very own legal arguments, essentially admitting that my legal arguments aren't praiseworthy. Never in Reyes's own ego would he have ever thought that somebody might not care whether or not their legal arguments receive praise from a judge. But I'm not questioning whether or not the original legal document that I forwarded to Reyes could have been praiseworthy. That's not the document that Reyes presented to the court. What I'm questioning is whether or not Reyes's claim that the basic, unimpressive, half-page, one-sentence document that Reyes did present to the court was praiseworthy. And it wasn't. I made sure of it for Reyes's own good. Here's what really happened at Reyes's hearing. Reyes tried to suck up to the prosecutor before the hearing and got rejected. Then, during the hearing, the judge asked Reyes if Reyes would like to provide any further oral arguments in favor of Reyes's motion to dismiss. Reyes stated to the judge that he didn't have anything to say. Then, the judge asked the prosecutor if the prosecutor would like to provide any further oral arguments in opposition to Reyes's motion. The prosecutor further argued against Reyes's motion. There was never any back and forth arguing between Reyes and the prosecutor, either in court or out of it, either during a hearing or in the pleadings. What was there to back and forth about? Reyes's entire argument was one sentence that was gift wrapped and handed to him on a silver platter from someone who isn't even a frauditor anymore. Let's talk about Poster 7 for a moment. Photographs for news, advertising, or commercial purposes. Photographs for news purposes may be taken in entrances, lobbies, foyers, corridors, or auditoriums when used for public meetings except where prohibited by official signs or security force personnel or other authorized personnel or a federal court order or rule. Other photographs may be taken only with the permission of the local postmaster or installation head. There is no doubt that Poster 7 permits news people to film in post office lobbies and foyers. There is no doubt that postal employees are authorized to thereafter prohibit news people from filming in post office lobbies. Enforcement. Security force personnel will exercise the powers under 18 U.S.C. 3061C2 and are responsible for enforcing the regulations in this notice in a manner that will protect U.S. Postal Service property. Postmasters or installation heads may, with the approval of the Chief Postal Inspector or designee, enter into agreements with state and local enforcement agencies to ensure enforcement of the regulations in a manner that will protect U.S. Postal Service property. Postal inspectors, Office of Inspector General Special Agents, and anyone designated by the Chief Postal Inspector may also enforce these regulations. There is no doubt that postmasters or installation heads may enter into agreements with state and local law enforcement to enforce Poster 7. The questions become, did the Chief Postal Inspector approve of the agreement? How formal must the Chief Postal Inspector's approval be? And how formal must the agreement between the postmaster or installation head and state and local law enforcement be? I'm not going to answer those questions right now because I don't want to teach Reyes anything before it's too late for him, as I have plans for Reyes's Waterbury post office lawsuit should he file it. Remember, just because someone wins his or her criminal case doesn't mean that he or she has a lawsuit. Penalties and other law. Alleged violations of these rules and regulations are heard, and the penalties prescribed herein are imposed either in a federal district court or by a federal magistrate in accordance with applicable court rules. Individuals found guilty of violating these rules and regulations while on property under the charge and control of the Postal Service are subject to a fine as provided in 18 U.S.C. 3571 or imprisonment of not more than 30 days or both. Nothing contained in these rules and regulations shall be construed to abrogate any other federal laws or regulations or any state or local laws and regulations applicable to any area in which the property is situated. And therein lies the controversy of Poster 7. There is no doubt that violations of Poster 7 must be heard in federal court. There is no doubt that Poster 7 provides for the applicability of state and local laws to any area in which the post office is located. However, the question becomes, does the federal court clause conflict with or cancel out the state abrogation clause? I'm not going to answer that question right now because I don't want to teach Reyes anything until it's too late for him. I will be submitting legal memos to defense counsel arguing against Reyes's Waterbury lawsuit should he file one.
I forgot to mention, I'm in your backyard.